It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 310. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters. Once again, y'all, we are back like we never left. And the video we get into today, I'm pretty sure is about to be crazy. I mean, all the videos that we ever watch always be crazy, but just the title of this video just got me like, oh my God, what the is going on? You know what I'm saying? And the channel that we going to watch this what the is going on video is Dire Trip. Back to Dire Trip, y'all. And check the title out. He built a garage dungeon to capture women. Nagasi Zuberi. Hey, that sound about right. Nagasi Zuberi. Or is it Nagasi Zubiri? I don't fucking know, but we finna see. But before we see, man, I want to say this real quick. Like, a dungeon in his garage? I'm wondering how many women did he actually capture? You know what I'm saying? And did they survive or not? Because some of these stories we hear about these women goddamn being captured for years, but some of them do survive. So that's what I'm most intrigued about. But before we see how the whole story go, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you might need. Get what you need. We back to Dire Trip, my brothers and sisters. Y'all got what y'all need? Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
A man known for using multiple aliases to commit crimes all over the entirety of the United States has recently caused an uproar online when he was caught making a prison cell in his garage in order to kidnap and lock up women to be his playthings.
Crazy. Get whatever you may need.
This is a case that has just recently rocked the internet due to its shocking nature. It might just be my most requested case in months, so let's start from the beginning. Nagasi Zuberi, a man affectionately called Zuberi by the captions, is a man of very questionable character who has been accused of a pretty crazy and outlandish crime just recently. This man has been all over the United States throughout his adult life, living in Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Alabama, and even Florida. All throughout this time, he went by a number of aliases, such as Sakima Zuberi, Justin Kwasi, and Justin Hike. Like most criminal con artists tend to do, Zuberi played himself up to be a wealthy entrepreneur. On LinkedIn, he went by one of his aliases, Sakima, and said that he owned a business called 43. He claims that he went to Klamath Community College and studied cybersecurity, but it's doubtful if that's true at all. He has been on the police's radar before, to put it lightly. The cops have been chasing him down for all manner of offenses all over the country, such as punching a man in the face, assaulting the mother of his kids, getting into public fights, and being a pretty garbage tenant wherever he happened to rent.
Okay, so we can go ahead and establish that this motherfucker got a history, a long line, a long record of fuckery, of the criminal shit and just bad shit. Like, we can pretty much say he has been a menace to society. You know what I'm saying? And it looked like it's just leading up to what he did.
In 2018, the man was even on Judge Judy of all things. The second episode of season 23 to be specific. In that episode, he was suing the mother of his kids, a woman named Alicia Westfall, for throwing a bottle at him and damaging his suit while the two were fighting. She countersued, saying that Zuberi smashed her phone and filed a false restraining order. Apparently they were living separately, just sharing custody of their son. In the end, Judge Judy ordered Alicia to pay $2,500 in damages. Just a few years back in 2020, he was accused of attacking and threatening to kill the mother of one of his kids once more. This woman
Wow.
attempted to get a restraining order against him, thinking his name was Justin Kawasi over in Contra Costa County, California. She wrote,
Wow.
"He physically attacks me. He hits me. He breaks and throws things. He screams at the kids and me. We get woken up every night from him being drunk and loud and scares us." Ultimately, it isn't really clear whether or not the restraining order was ever actually issued. It is clear, though, that Zuberi fled the city after that. He ended up in Vancouver, Washington, where he was once again an absolutely garbage tenant. Court records show that, after he didn't pay rent for 6 months straight, his landlord was seeking to evict him. Zuberi's neighbors in his Vancouver home said that he made most of his money by renting out rooms and beds in a home that he pretended to own. They said that he would bring, quote, prostitutes and weirdos back to the home at all hours of the night.
I stayed away because I knew he was a hothead. Like, he was subleasing every single space that you could possibly, like literally the living room, I think they had like a little open area when you come up the stairs, kind of like a loft area. He was subleasing that. There were beds there. Like, it was weird. There was a lot of different people.
One neighbor, who only went by Danny, had a lot to say about Zuberi.
He did make some threats towards me that he was gonna stab me or kill me if he catches me outside somewhere. That night that he was yelling at me, he literally looked like a killer. Literally, his eyes were just, it was actually scary.
He said that he specifically remembers an incident in which a young lady was shivering and crying outside of Zuberi's place in the middle of the night in December after having a giant argument with him. He said, "I went up to her and offered her hot tea and some soup because it was freezing. She told me he took her keys and cell phone, and when I asked her if she wanted me to call the police, she said, 'No, I don't want to get in trouble with him. It's not worth it. He's crazy.'" Another neighbor had filed a restraining order against Zuberi in March that year after being sent a text message saying, simply, "I'm gonna fuck you up." This was because that neighbor approached Zuberi after he had parked a large RV out in front of his house. I know how most of you feel about HOAs, but this did violate the HOA rules that he agreed to. Things escalated even further when Zuberi started leaving massive heaps of garbage out in front of his house, never actually putting it out to be collected. This neighbor told news outlets it was a nightmare. He had pit bulls running around and random people coming in and out of the house. The cops showed up a bunch of times and I never knew what he was going to be up to. I just didn't feel good about him, so after he threatened me, I filed a restraining order because I have a wife and a child to protect. I didn't sleep very well for about 6 months because of all the activity that was happening. Danny also said that Zuberi threatened to hurt him after he confronted him about drunk driving and running over a neighbor's trash cans, saying,
Wow.
"Obviously I came out and told him to go back to his house and to get off my property, but he started threatening me and took off his shirt. He yelled at me and got up in my face. That's when I thought he was truly crazy and something was wrong with him."
You know what? This man is the classic neighbor that you don't want to have. You know what I'm saying? Zuberi, he is the classic neighbor that be the ones that all, don't matter what time of the day or what time of the night, late in the night, early in the morning. Well, he got a lot of people coming in and out of his house. You keep hearing cars coming in and out of driveways with their music blasting, and it's drawing so much attention. You know what I'm saying? We all us want to live in a neighborhood in all the surrounding houses. We want everybody to be peaceful and calm. But every now and then you run into a neighbor like him who is crazy as fuck, and it's a menace to society, and you gotta try to deal with it the best you can. I have been there before. My neighbors right now, everybody pretty cool, man. We just had somebody just move in, like literally next door to me, right to my left, and she is a cool lady, cool older lady. I'm glad it ain't no young crazy motherfuckers, cause there was some young crazy motherfuckers that stayed there. You know what I'm saying? So he is a classic example of that, and he just a classic example of a menace to society, and he a classic example of somebody who is spiraling down a road that's gonna end up into somebody's life getting fucked up. And I don't know if he killed any of these ladies yet, but it seems like that may be the case.
I knew he was capable of doing some crazy stuff. Zuberi would often get so violent that his neighbors would record him when he was up to his usual shenanigans for their own safety, capturing all manner of verbal threats and threatening behavior.
Once we started going against his way of life, he started getting aggressive, where it's like, or like showing a gun. He started going on our property and cussing us out.
Another man who just goes by Gerald rented a room from Zuberi. He found the place while searching for a room on Facebook Marketplace that he could rent on pretty short notice. While doing so, he noticed all manner of concerning behavior. He noted that Zuberi became very nervous when the police were around or even mentioned at all in any capacity. He said that he heard constant fighting between Zuberi and his girlfriend, the mother of some of his kids. He said that he didn't even know that Zuberi didn't actually own the home until his landlord started the eviction process, causing him to lose out on his room too in November. The landlord said that, in addition to failing to pay rent, he also illegally sublet the home, bred puppies despite not being allowed to, damaged the property, and even fought with and threatened his neighbors. He is a horrible person, the landlord said. He deserves to be in jail. According to other court records, in 2022, Zuberi was once again accused of a crime, using his Justin alias once again. It has been said that he punched a man in the face while out in Denver. An arrest warrant was issued, but it appears that the Denver police never did find him, let alone arrest him. The warrant is still active. After being evicted, Zuberi fled town once again. This brings us up to July of 2023. Zuberi is living out in Klamath Falls, Oregon, back up to his same old game. He's living in a house, illegally subletting every single available room there is to make some money. He was regularly bringing in prostitutes as well, despite the mother of his kids living there. At some point during all of this, he started getting some ideas. Very dark, very horrific ideas. On July 15th, Zuberi found a woman in Seattle and solicited her for prostitution. After they did the deed together, Zuberi told the woman that he was actually an undercover police officer and that he'd have to take her into custody. He slapped some handcuffs on her, put her into some leg irons, and threw her into the back seat of his car. He drove her from Seattle back to his home in Klamath Falls, about 450 miles away. On the way, he pulled the car over and forced the woman to have sex with him one more time. He then got back into the driver's seat and continued the journey back home. Back at home, Zuberi had created a makeshift prison cell in his garage using mainly cinder blocks and welded pieces of metal with a door installed that could only be opened from the outside. Upon arriving home, he threw the woman into this cell and told her that he was leaving to do some paperwork, still pretending he was a police officer.
Now, if that lady still believe, I don't believe that lady believe that he a police officer at this point. She can't, man. She cannot believe that, man. This dude, I don't even understand why he would still be acting like he a police officer at this point. Dude, you are a crazy motherfucker who just kidnapped me. That's what the fuck you are.
The woman sat in the grungy, homemade prison cell for hours. She was able to briefly sleep for just a little bit, but quickly awoke due to the mounting anxiety. She was well aware that Zuberi wasn't actually a police officer and felt the timer on her lifespan was quickly going down. She came to the realization that, if she didn't get out of this somehow, she was going to die. She started hitting the door to the prison cell repeatedly. She was able to break one of the door's welded joints off, creating a small opening between the door and the wall that she was able to squeeze through. She ended up with all sorts of cuts and lacerations across her hands in the process, but it was a small price to pay for her freedom. After she got out of the garage, she opened the door to Zuberi's car, finding his handgun and taking it to protect herself in case he decided to chase after her. She got out into the street and flagged down a passing car. Shortly after, she was in contact with the police. After the victim escaped, Zuberi realized how absolutely screwed he was and fled the home. The police came out to the home and quickly saw the disturbing scene. Not only was the ramshackle prison cell there in the garage just as the victim had described, they started coming across some very disturbing handwritten notes in a journal nearby. Zuberi had detailed his plans to capture and confine more people in what he called Operation Takeover. The list included such plans as finding women who wouldn't be missed, saying, "Make sure they don't have a bunch of people in their life. You don't want any type of investigation." The very first bullet point in the plan read, "Leave phone at home," likely so that his movements couldn't be tracked. Zuberi didn't follow the very first rule in his own plan. The FBI was able to use GPS location data to see that Zuberi was in the area of Seattle where the victim was kidnapped at the time she was taken. It even showed the drive back home to Klamath Falls. Next,
Imagine that. Your ass writing out this rule book of how you should do this kidnapping, crazy, locking women up in your dungeon type shit. You wrote it out, but you didn't even fucking follow it, bro. You didn't even follow the first rule. I mean, this dude right here, and I'm glad because it said women He built up. Now I get the title more. Cause see, when they say he built a garage dungeon to capture women, I'm thinking that a lot of women actually already was captured or had been captured in there. I didn't read that. I didn't understand the title right, man. Now I get what Diatrip saying about his title, and I'm just I'm happy. I'm happy that there's only one woman and she survived and escaped. But this dude, he a sloppy wannabe big time murderer, kidnapper, crazy, dangerous boogeyman type dude. You know what I'm saying? He real sloppy and he like a knockoff version. Like he fucking great value. You know what I'm saying? He Bouffalé. He fake with it. Like he not authentic. Like he ain't doing it right. I'm glad he ain't doing it right, and I hope he still get a lot of time in prison. But let's see.
Next in the plans were designs for a much more detailed, elaborate dungeon, one that he planned to build at least 100 feet underground. He planned to build it with cinder blocks, foam insulation, and waterproof concrete. He wrote, "Dig a hole straight down 100 feet. A lot of the notes were kind of hard to read, but one could make out concrete block, rubber coat, foam insulation, and waterproof concrete. Zuberi's girlfriend, the kid's mother, came home to find out that he wasn't there any longer and that the police were questioning someone that was subletting the house. This person quickly contacted Zuberi and told him that the police were after him. Zuberi, though, was already long gone. He wasn't coming back. Calling his girlfriend, Zuberi told her that he was going to Alabama for a while until the heat died down. He was currently in Nevada, though, and asked her to come out with the kids. She agreed. She was fully on his side, never having heard anything occurring in the garage. In fact, she had seen this makeshift prison cell and believed that it was merely just another room that Zuberi was planning to sublet when it was all finished. Zuberi, his girlfriend, and the kids were soon spotted by 2 police officers out in Nevada while they were all hanging out in a Walmart parking lot in Reno. One of the officers noticed Zuberi holding one of his kids on his lap in the front seat while holding what appeared to be a sharp object. His girlfriend was outside the car speaking to him. Once Zuberi was confronted by the police officers, he refused to exit the car. Instead, he cut himself with that sharp object and started bleeding profusely all over the place. While bleeding out, he started to attempt to destroy his phone, but after a few minutes of back and forth, he finally agreed to exit the vehicle. He was swiftly arrested and taken into custody. Luckily, his kids were unharmed, but they and their mom were forced to return back home on a bus. The police complimented Zuberi's victim, saying that she likely saved the lives of an untold number of women in the future, saying, "If she didn't do what she did, we wouldn't be here today and Mr. Zuberi would not be in custody."
True.
The woman fought for her life, beating the doors and the walls of this cell with bloodied hands. Through her perseverance, she broke free and waved down a passing motorist.
Zuberi was looking at charges of interstate kidnapping, which could carry a maximum sentence of life in prison if he were to be convicted. Given all of his crimes across the entire United States, the FBI worry that there are definitely more victims out there, alive or dead. They even set up a website asking for more victims to come forward and tell their stories. They're looking at possible criminal activity in all of the states he previously lived in, using all of his previous aliases. The police say that they have reason to believe that there's prior victims from several states. They have actually already found new victims in the case, saying, "Sakima has several different methods to gain control of his victims, including drugging their drinks, pretending to be a police officer, and soliciting the services of sex workers and then violently sexually assaulting them. Some of the encounters have been filmed to make it appear as if the assault was consensual." Nevertheless, Zuberi is now locked up in jail in Nevada, awaiting extradition back to Oregon. There, he's being charged in a federal court with interstate kidnapping and transporting an individual across state lines with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. The small town of Klamath Falls, boasting a population of only about 22,000 people, has been rocked by this case. I mean, it's a quiet place known for golfing, bird watching, and fishing. They never expected anything like this would be happening in their community. In just 2 weeks after his arrest, the police were able to link Zuberi to 4 sexual assault cases in 4 different states. Being an active investigation, they haven't been able to provide much more detail than that. But they did say, "There is an escalation of violence and intent, and so we are concerned that if we work backwards, we're gonna find, unfortunately, numerous victims." Zuberi's girlfriend says that she's shocked by the accusations coming from the FBI. She believes that her boyfriend could never do anything like this, reiterating that the prison cell was merely a new room to rent out, not a cage. Zuberi had told her that these new cells were new rooms he planned to sublet. Being that that's how he made his money, she didn't think much of it.
Yes, yeah, it's a room. It's not a cinder block. It's a room. They keep saying it's a cinder block. It's a room. He's just trying to expand.
So you're saying he's building out a room. The FBI
Yes.
is saying it was a makeshift prison cell.
That's a
What do you have
lie.
to say to that?
It's a lie. He never, ever, like everywhere I know him, like he never, ever brings something like build something like that. All this man is doing is trying to expand subleasing.
Boy, love can be blind and love can make your ass delusional. Because that damn lady delusional as fuck, man. I guess she just so in love with him, so she just don't believe that that's what Zuberi was doing. But it's clear as day that those rooms was made to help hold people captive. There was not no damn bedroom he was renting out with nothing in it but a damn chair. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Come on.
The prison cell in the garage has since been torn down. Zuberi is still in jail. His girlfriend says that she's going to stand by him regardless of what happens.
He's a good person. That's what I know. He helped my kids. He helped me when I need help. He even helped me apply for school. He helped me apply for FAFSA. He helped me get to my feet. Even we didn't get along, but he always helping me. It is sad that he's been accused because that's not who he is. That's not who I had kids with. This is not what the guy that they portray him to be. This is not his legacy.
And like right there, man, she just said it's sad that he being accused, but no, it is sad that you actually believe his shit. It is sad that you believe that he's innocent. That's the sad part.
Being that this is a very recent case, this is about all the info that we have at this time. We'll just have to wait and see what kind of sentence Zuberi ends up with. Once again, thank you for watching my video. Like I said in the beginning, this is definitely one of my most requested cases in a pretty long time. Wanted to make sure I had pretty much all of the info I could get, so it did take a little while. Sorry about that. If you don't mind, go ahead and give the video a like, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Go ahead and follow me on social media too if you feel like it. If you want to support the channel even further, I do have a Patreon account, which I always keep linked down in the description below. Speaking of which, shout out to the top patrons.
And y'all make sure, man, if y'all ain't go like this video particularly, you know what I'm saying? Go to his channel. I'm gonna leave the description like I always do down in my video. Make sure you go like this, but I'm just saying, just go subscribe to Dial Trip and everything, man. Support him in any way that you want to, man. But he is a great YouTube true crime, horror, dark, deep, and mysterious, what is going on type of story content creator, and he most definitely need love from us, y'all. But and he deserve it too. But as far as this case go, the main takeaway for me more than anything is this man literally was all over the United States doing fucked up shit. He was doing it in that state. He was doing it in this state. He was going in that state. Hell, he had 4 women in 4 different states to say that he sexually assaulted them. You know what I'm saying? He going all around the United States, raping women and shit. Like, this dude was fucking crazy, man. And it was just a build up. It was just a build up the whole time. It was just building up. But it also crossed my mind real quick. I'm like, even prior to what ended up happening with him kidnapping the lady, throwing her in the cell and all that, way prior to that, it was so much build up to it was like, at some point, man, can't you stop this man before he actually do some crazy shit? Can we put a stop to it before? Like, if he just keep committing all these crimes and keep going in and out of jail and got all this craziness going on, at some point, man, can we just go on, make sure that we put a stop to him where he can't do no more craziness? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. That's a slippery slope, because it's like you charge it. I don't know, man. It's slippery because, like, you charging him for these crimes and stuff, but you only giving him a year here or 5 months there in jail, then he get out, do the same thing, or 2 years, then he get out, do the same thing. And you know what I'm saying? So, because these charges are not enough to keep him in jail for longer. But I feel like that's why, just like when people commit these big time felonies and shit, the 3 strikes, maybe we need some 3 strikes for misdemeanors too. Like, even if it's more petty, not petty, but smaller crimes, maybe after a certain amount of them crimes, you gonna have to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope y'all understand what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters. What I'm trying to say, I'm gonna say it one more time. All these like little small misdemeanors that these people that they be committing, that eventually lead up to them doing something even crazier and even more dangerous. Before we get to that point, maybe all these little small misdemeanors, instead of just giving them this much little time in jail and that much little time in jail, maybe it need to be accumulative to the point where if you keep on just doing them little small crimes, we still gonna give you a longer time in jail. Well, not in jail, prison. We're gonna have to put you in prison because all this little shit that you did added up to you a menace to society, and we don't think it's safe for you to be still in society, because you being in society is gonna end up costing somebody their life one day or something. You know what I'm saying, man? That's all I'm trying to say. Long story short, short story long, my brothers and sisters. And I digress. I'm gonna go let y'all go now, man. Great video from Diet Trip as always. Tomorrow is Friday, and y'all know we go to AJ from the Wi-Files on Fridays. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that. And make sure you come back tomorrow, because I'm pretty sure the Wi-Files video is gonna be excellently crazy. And until I see y'all tomorrow, my brothers and sisters, love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.